working together, believing the best, knowing that at the end of the day, you have your family.
Right.
And those are the people that you can depend on to be there for you.
Thank you for joining us for the Blended Kingdom Families podcast. This podcast is for blended families, the people who love them, and anyone who just wants to improve their marriage and family relationships.
BKF exists to break the cycle of divorce, equip marriages, and unite blended families with the truth of God's Word. It is our hope that today you will receive biblical guidance and practical resources that will bring unity and peace to create your thriving, healthy home. Let's jump in. All right, awesome. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to the Blended Kingdom Families podcast. We're so glad that you're here with us today. If you have not already subscribed to our website and to our YouTube channel, you can go ahead and click on the bell, subscribe, and that way you can get notified of all the new episodes that will be coming out. And so you guys, I'm so excited because we have our very own Emily in the hot seat today. A lot of you probably know Emily because she is our administrative coordinator and she is fabulous and amazing. Some of you have probably even emailed with you before to connect. But you guys, we're so excited to have Emily. We're going to be talking about communication in a large blended family because Emily comes from a very large blended family. Her blended family is a blended family of
8.
And if you've been following us, you have probably watched her parents' episode, which was 8 is Enough, Worship is Something You Live. And we had Emily's mom and dad on here, and they just, oh my gosh, it was such an amazing episode. Go watch it. It's one of our highest viewed episodes. You will get so many good nuggets of wisdom and encouragement from that. But we're going to be talking about communication from a child's perspective. And growing up in a large blended family, because communication as children, as adults, communication can be hard. And obviously when you add more people into the mix of conversation, it can make it even harder.
Yes, yeah.
So, but before we jump in, Emily, welcome.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. It's exciting. I'm here, but like I'm never here. So it's cool. Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, we're excited to dive in today. But first, tell our people more about you. Anything fun that you like to do? Anything quirky about you?
Yeah. So I have 7 siblings. Some of them have gotten married and, well, let's see, there's 3, almost 4 of them married now.
Wow.
So, yeah, so our 8 kids has grown by, a half, so it's a lot more people. Quirky things about me is I would buy a zoo tomorrow if that was possible. So that's just one thing. I love animals. Any animal, I'm like, yes, I'll take them home.
Take them home. Take them home. And you love sloths. She has a thing for sloths, you guys.
Yeah.
So
I have 3 of them in my car. I have 1 on my desk.
And she has sloth socks. She wears them to the office.
Yep.
I'm just going to share that little bit of information with anyone who's listening or watching.
Yeah.
It's too funny. But, well, awesome. Well, Emily, I know we've been able to talk a lot about how you and your family communicate. And it's really funny to hear because you guys, they have this text message thread. Well, it's not really text message because your family's so large, you actually can't fit on a text message thread.
We have to do a group me.
Yeah.
With all, so grandparents can be involved too. So
that is...
Everyone's in the loop.
Everyone's in the loop. I love that. Well, just share with us, Emily, how has that been from childhood to being an adult, navigating communication in your blended family?
Well, I would say obviously learning it, growing up, you get a little bit better at it. But today, I think my siblings and I have learned that when we come together, let's say we're planning a siblings dinner, a siblings outing, we like to, sit all down together and just make it a priority that time that we're going to spend together. And so that means we have to work together. We have to realize everyone has their own schedules, jobs, school, all of that. We have to be willing to make priority or compromises so that, we can make it and all of us can be there all together. And just sitting down and hearing each other and working together as a team and not trying to make, your way or the highway kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, because there are so many of us, lots of us are chiefs, not enough Indians because our parents raised us strong, which is good, but so just, listening and making compromises and working as a team.
No, that's good. Well, and I love that you call it a team because it really is. I mean, any family is a team. And like you talked about, just being intentional in making that time together, because you're right, we all have busy schedules. Like we all have a life. And I can't imagine there's 8 of y'all and then half of you are getting married and, no grandkids yet.
No, I'm not ready for that season yet. So,
But with it growing and growing, it causes less room, for you guys to have those moments together. So it is really important to, like you said, come together as one and just be intentional and talk about that and make priority. And so even just practically, how do you guys do that? Is that you all meet at your parents' house? I know you said your parents' house is kind of a central meeting point for everybody.
Yeah, we call that home base.
Yeah.
That's the typical term for it.
Yeah. So y'all just come together and then do you just write out schedules and?
No, it's more of just kind of everyone screaming out oh, here's this, what about this? But okay, can we all make it here?
Yeah.
What if, this person moves this or whatnot, reschedules an appointment. But it really is making it that priority and making it something we need to stay connected because life gets so busy. And, today's day and age, we're so connected through technology and all of that. But spending time, being in that community, it's really important. And I think that is something my parents really instilled in us growing up from day one since we moved in, is we're a family and we're in this together and this is the team and, it's good to be together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love, technology is the world that we live in, but there's something about having a meal with someone and just being face to face. And so, and like we were talking about, that's hard when you have a big family, but like you guys said, you have to make those sacrifices. If you want that relationship to grow and for your family to stay strong. So I love that. So another question, Emily, what are some practices that you and your family have implemented that have worked well for you all? When it comes to taking family vacations or doing birthdays. I know y'all are big on birthdays.
Yes.
So just what are some things that you guys have done that has worked well for y'all, that maybe someone out here is oh, maybe we could implement that and that would work for us?
Yeah. So like I said, my family is full of chiefs, and so everyone wants to be heard. Their plan is a really, really good plan, if not the best plan. So sometimes we can be a little bit more aggressive or just not so nice to people or not giving enough grace and patience to work with each other because it is so crazy and it's a lot to coordinate sometimes. But being open and honest with hey, what you said kind of hurt my feelings, or that just, it wasn't so nice. Maybe you should apologize to that person. And just making sure expectations and where that person stands is clear. The different walk of life, and that include, you have to make that time to make that connection, to be in community so you keep up with everyone. But just being open and honest and real with each other.
Yeah. Well, and I would imagine, because I have a step sibling and you obviously have, siblings as well. And so even for someone who's listening and maybe they're struggling with that, or maybe a parent that's listening right now, and it's my biological children and my stepchildren are struggling to communicate. Because I remember I had that with my stepsister. We had a difficult time communicating. As adults, it's gotten so much better, and we communicate well with one another. Our relationship is great. But even as adults, sometimes that's hard for people. So coming from that perspective, Emily, what encouragement could you give there?
So for parents, I would just say each kid is different. Each person is different. Everyone has their own walk, their own journey of life, and making sure we realize that and understand that they understand things differently, and they might be processing things differently, and they might need help in a little bit of a different area than the other one. But not grouping them all together as, oh, they're just the kids, but like this is, you are one individual, and each need is important. So making sure just to meet them where they are and allowing that grace, mercy, patience, because everyone's going to need it. So, but just allowing room for that, for healing to take place and for God to, have his hand in his way in things.
That's good. And as you grew up, Emily, and we know like kids a lot of times, and especially being teenagers, like we can be a little bratty and, we may not get along with our siblings, or maybe we love them, but we just don't like them at the time. If we're being honest.
Siblings,
no, just joking. But as adults, as your relationship has had time to grow and mature, what if there's a young adult that's listening right now that's saying like, my sibling and I just have never had a good relationship. Like we've never had the opportunity to get close, or just whether that's a sibling relationship or a biological sibling relationship. What would you want to say to them right now that may give them some hope?
So I think for that, it's important to believe the best in people and to encourage them and support them and love them where they are.
That's good.
And encourage them and push them with God's truth and in his word, filling them up that way and giving them encouragement that way, strengthening them that way, so that, because God can come into that relationship and heal it and bring peace and bring unity in it. So working together, believing the best, knowing that at the end of the day, you have your family. Right. And those are the people that you can depend on to be there for you at any moment. So just realizing that.
No, that's so good. And, we serve a God of unity, not disunity. And so anytime if you're struggling in a relationship with one of your siblings and you're having disunity there and you're not getting along, understanding that the enemy wants to attack families and relationships, and just being prayerful about that. I know we talked about that backstage.
Lots
about
of prayer,
just being prayerful about your siblings and where they're at, whether that's in their life or in their spiritual walk, and just being prayerful over your family and just believing that for nothing will be impossible with God, and that he is the God of miracles and he is the God of impossible. And so if anyone's listening or watching today and you're in that season, or even if you're a parent and you're like, man, I have adult children who cannot get along and it's causing tension in your family, or you're not able to have family gatherings because someone's at odds with each other, just being prayerful. And I love what you talked about earlier, Emily, about just being transparent and just being open and honest, and just being able to come together at a central location and just have those difficult and hard conversations. And sometimes you don't want to hear what you what people have to say, but
just realizing, we're not perfect. We don't know it all. We're still learning. There's always room for improvement, for growth.
Oh, absolutely.
And just to take it, on a soft heart, because the Lord is trying to do something. He's trying to teach you something, and siblings will definitely help along that path.
They will grow you. Yes, absolutely. Well, Emily, we asked this question to all of our viewers, but what advice or encouragement, if you had a blended family sitting in front of you today, whether that's adult blended children, younger blended children, or even to the parents, what advice or just good wisdom of nugget, like encouragement, would you want to impart to them?
That family is so important, and if you stick it through, if you give that honor, that respect, and just implement that at the core of your family, then, it'll be the best home team you've ever faced,
That's awesome. Yeah, home team. I think of like a football team.
Oh, we have plenty of people for that too.
Yes, y'all do. Y'all can, your whole family could make a football team. No, that's awesome. Okay, and final question. Blended Kingdom Families, you were part of this awesome ministry, but what is a Blended Kingdom family to you, Emily?
A blended kingdom family to me is a family who is rooted in God's truth, in His word, and in His kingdom. And everything they do, everything they say, the walk of life, how they live, it comes out of that.
Yeah. No, that's so good. I love that. Well, it has been so awesome having you on and just hearing your perspective of growing up in a blended family. You know, I grew up in one as well, but I did not have 7 other siblings. And so, you know, I know with that comes challenges, but then there's so much joy, you know, hearing you talk about like your brother's getting married this weekend and
Caroline's graduating.
Graduating. I mean, you guys have so much life going on, and that's awesome.
Always,
yeah, that is so awesome. And just to be able to celebrate in that with one another, you know, but like we have the ups and the downs, we have the hills and the valleys, but you know, celebrating in those amazing times, I mean, it's,
exciting.
Yeah.
New chapters, new seasons.
Yeah. That's awesome. We're excited for you guys.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining in with us today and just hearing from Emily and just a little bit about her background growing up and just how she and her family communicated and what worked well for them. And we hope that you took home with you some of that encouragement and hope that she had to impart. But you guys, I just wanted to just remind you, if you haven't already left us a review on our iTunes or other podcast platforms, we'd love for you to do so. I want to read a review that we received, and it says, "Such an amazing project. This podcast is so encouraging to not just people in blended families, but to all of those who are married, single, dating, and everywhere in between. The Holy Spirit is working through BKF, and I am so blessed to be a part of this community." So thank you so much. And you guys, and if you haven't already click the notification and the bell to get notified when the podcast episode's out, do so. That way you don't miss anything. But we hope that you are blessed in all that you do today, and we'll see you next week.
Hey guys, so glad you were here with us today, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
And you can find more resources from Blended Kingdom Families at blendedkingdomfamilies.com. Join us again next time as we hang out with more amazing podcast guests. And remember, nothing will be impossible with God.